Welcome into Band of Bettors. It is AFC and NFC Championship week in the NFL. We are from Alloy Sports. Brad and Spencer Kronthal here, helping you become more data-driven with your bets. Spencer, an exciting divisional round. Didn't really shake out exactly how we thought, but boy, was there excitement and a few surprises.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome games. A couple blowouts, a couple of them staying relatively close, but for the most part, not really too many nail biters this week.
No, and unfortunately, the team that I thought would win the Super Bowl prior to the playoffs beginning is now out, that being the Buffalo Bills. That's probably my biggest shock of the week. And not that they lost, because Cincinnati is tough. They are a tough team, but more so in the way that they lost. They were destroyed at home in the snow. Elements you think would play to their advantage. Josh Allen had a miserable day. Really all Buffalo did. And Cincinnati, with that three offensive linemen out, three original starters, had no problem. It was Buffalo's offensive line that struggled throughout the course of the day. That was the biggest shock to me throughout last weekend.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think one thing that we found out is the last couple of years, Cincinnati, we always talk about Kansas City, we talk about Buffalo, but maybe Cincinnati is the team of the AFC for years to come. I've still got my pick with KC holding strong. I did like that Jacksonville got in for the late cover as well with the field goal. I got both my teams available, San Fran and KC. Are we due for that Super Bowl rematch from 2 years ago?
We'll find out. So obviously we've been making a few bets for every game since the playoffs started. So let's go through the divisional round. So entering last week, I was 4-2. You were 2-4. Similar bets, but a few different ones. So we'll go game by game. So first, it was Jacksonville, Kansas City. Jacksonville covers. Spencer, you were on we were both on Jacksonville. We were both on Jacksonville. So that is a win for both of us. Giants, Eagles. So this is where you made up ground, Spencer. I had the Giants going with one of my strategies. You had the Eagles, and the Eagles actually came out guns a-blazing. So that you even ground there. I'm just changing up the score here. And then Cincinnati, Buffalo, we were both on Buffalo, both taking the L. And then Dallas, San Francisco, we were both on the 49ers in that one. So 2-2 for me, 3-1 for you, Spencer. Good week. So now the totals are I'm 6-4, you are 5-5 entering championship weekend. So let's get right into it. First game of the day. I mean, these games are so intriguing. Is there any game either way that you're just looking forward to first for any reason?
I'm looking forward to both. These are with the way Cincinnati looked against Buffalo, because you could have made the debate that Buffalo or Cincinnati is the second best team in the AFC, I think, after Kansas City. But looking at how Cincy played, these are clearly the four best teams in the NFL. It's not always the case that you get that. It doesn't seem like we got a hot team in there right now.
Are
Casey's
they though? Let's be real. Cincinnati, a lot of people like Buffalo, including myself, because of the way they played against Baltimore. Baltimore should have won that game. They're at the 2-yard line. They ran a stupid quarterback sneak where he tried jumping Tyler Huntley to the end zone where it got stripped at the 2-yard line and run back 98 yards. Cincinnati had no business winning that ball game. And that's a different story of the playoffs. So a lot of people saw them struggling, diminished offensive line, and Buffalo at home. Just to me, it seemed like their year. The DeMar Hamlin situation only elevated that from a mental state for Buffalo. And they just, Cincinnati's rolling. There's no way to put it. So you want to start there. Cincinnati is actually 1.5-point favorites on the road to open up the week in Kansas City. Where are you leaning?
Well, I need to play this one strategically also. I have to make sure that you don't just copy my picks on both. Otherwise, I will owe you a steak dinner. I like Kansas City. They're my Super Bowl pick. This is basically a toss-up at 1.5. And actually, Kansas City is the underdog. So I'm taking Kansas City.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm not going to do that because I'm going with Cincinnati in this one. Not a ton of just a few of my strategies have KC. My favorite ones aren't pointing at this game in any direction, which tells me that I am not falling for Kansas City. I think Cincinnati is a tougher team. Patrick Mahomes is injured. I think that's going to play a major role in this game, his mobility being a factor. I'm not going to rely on just Kansas City being Kansas City to pull this one out. I think regardless of how bad Cincinnati's O-line is, as far as depth is concerned, Joe Burrow has been immaculate in the playoffs. The receiving core is probably the best remaining in the NFL playoffs, them and Philadelphia. But I look for them to continue. They are the hot team. They are going into Kansas City, but they have this odd chip on their shoulder ever since the final regular season game after that DeMar Hamlin game, where they had the potential to be a coin flip game for a home playoff game with Baltimore. Obviously, Baltimore played their third stringers in the final game of the season, so I don't know why Cincinnati's holding on to that chip. But you could see after they beat Buffalo, they were very concerned about that the Buffalo-Kansas City game being at a neutral site. There's no neutral site for this one. They have this odd chip on their shoulder like Michael Jordan used to have in that 30 for 30. But I don't understand that. But, credit to them. If they're going to carry that with them and helps motivate them, good for them. I'm going with the Bengals. It's basically a toss-up here at 1.5. I don't think it's going to be less than that. I don't see anyone winning by 1 point, though. Field goal or extra points could be a factor in this. I'm going with Cincinnati.
That could be the difference.
So it could be, but we're not talking about the Cowboys anymore, so we don't have to worry about Maher. But Butker's been a little bit iffy sometimes this season as well. But let's move on to the NFC Championship game. This one is tough. These teams are tough. I could see either team winning. It's such a hard game to put a line to, but we have one. And on FanDuel, the Eagles are favored by 2.5. Who do you like here, Spence?
I agree with you. As you started talking and prefacing it, first thing I thought of is this is a brutally tough game to bet. KC, I feel pretty good about. I know Cincinnati's really on a roll, but with this game, there are times where Philly looks like an absolute juggernaut. My gut keeps wanting to say Philly. I picked San Fran to get in. I know there's the 2.5 points, but I don't see this necessarily staying within that range. This is really interesting. It seems like San Fran is the dependable, consistent. Philly won 14-3. They're consistent as well. But Philly just seems to have all the firepower while San Fran is going to grind it out, play that defense. Purdy's going to manage the game pretty successfully, stronger running game.
And we've seen underdogs have a lot of success in the playoffs. However, a lot of that success came when they were 5-point dogs or higher. Both these games are super tight within a field goal, so it's a little bit of a different matchup here.
Oh, this is tough. They say, not to always stick it out just because you picked something before. Oh, this is a very tough one.
Do you want to throw it to me?
Breaking it down. San Fran, love the defense. Love how Purdy's been managing the games and even making a few plays. McCaffrey, Philly with Hurts just that offense lighting it up. Look, I don't think the Giants were that big of a threat offensively. So the blowout there is not too much factoring in. I'd love to stay away from betting this game, but since we've got this one on the line, I'm going to take San Fran.
Okay, and I wanted to show this to you as well because this is interesting. Early in the week it is, but this is Vegas Insider, some of the public betting information. Against the spread, Philly is getting all the love right now. They're getting 91% of the money. Does that influence you? Would that influence you to fade that and say, hey, the books, look at this right now. It's a Tuesday, granted. These numbers will shift throughout the week all the way up to Sunday at 3 p.m. But that's where they are now. I have to stick to my guns here. There's a few strategies that I have that like San Francisco, and luckily there's a few that have Philadelphia. One being the balanced O strategy, which Philly has. So does San Francisco, but giving Philadelphia the slight edge. It hit in its only game last week, being Jacksonville. I picked Philadelphia to be in the Super Bowl. I'm going to stick with that. So we're going to be on the opposition this weekend. I'm going to be going with the Eagles. I'm going with both favorites. I know this. Anytime I've been going against the Eagles this year, it has not worked out for me. So I'm not going to fade the Eagles anymore. I'm going to stick it with them. They are slightly fresher than San Francisco, being they had a bye week They just look so good. They blew out the Giants at home. It wasn't really a difficult game for them. Again, it's Jalen Hurts who's playing on an MVP level, and it's Brock Purdy who's been insane, but still a rookie. The Eagles' defense has been incredible. The Niners' defense has been incredible. I am so excited to watch this game, but because it's within a field goal, I'm giving the edge to the home team, the Eagles. They've done it all year, but I could really see this going anyway, but I'm not going to just ride with you, Spencer. I'm taking the opposition again, and I'm going with the Eagles to make it to the Super Bowl.
So the stakes on the line this week. You can clinch, or I can win. Although I can take a 1-game lead with the Super Bowl left. This is it.
Yeah, and so I think the interesting thing here is how we've been betting with the strategy. So I'm betting on the Eagles game with the balanced O strategy. What went into that? So it's higher passing yards per attempt, it's higher rushing attempts per game, and it's a lower passing attempts per game. So basically getting a lot out of the passing game. You're not throwing as much, but you're getting a lot of value from your passing game. You're getting good yards per pass, and as well as running the ball effectively and well. And this does filter in a consecutive win, which obviously both teams are coming off a win because they're still alive in the playoffs. But I'm riding with Philadelphia and Cincinnati. Spencer, you have the Chiefs and the 49ers. I mean, there's really no wrong place here. I will say the one I do feel a little more confident about is Cincinnati. The Chiefs just haven't been as strong, and we'll see how healthy Mahomes is. I'm sure he'll play fine because he's Mahomes, but not having mobility is a key for him, and their offensive line hasn't looked as strong in recent times, especially at left tackle position.
It'll definitely be a couple exciting matchups to watch this week.
Yeah, deadlocked. We're both going the other ways. I'm 6-4. You're 5-5 in the playoffs. So this will be a fun weekend to watch, and I'm getting ready for that steak dinner in Chicago. Trust me. I just want to sweep this weekend. Don't have to worry about any Super Bowl pick, and we'll be good there. But we'll play it. We'll play it out.
Make sure to bring your credit card.
I will. All right. So, I mean, what a great season it's been. All the way to this point, systems have been profitable for us. Big key takeaways so far from the entire year. How about those underdogs? Just from week 1 all the way throughout, if you bet on the dogs this season, you're winning money. And then the stats and the filters just let you enhance those strategies and win even more. So that's a trend that we've seen all season long. I found it interesting that it continued to carry on throughout the playoffs, where the underdogs have won the majority of games against the spread.
Absolutely. And that's, I guess, where I'm keeping my money at this week, with taking both underdogs.
Yeah. And for me, I like the favorites simply because 1.5 point spread, 2.5 point spread, if it's just within a field goal, it's a toss-up. But that Philly 49ers, I cannot wait for Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. And you should be too. And if you're using Alloy Sports, the app, you'll know where you want to bet for this weekend too. Build your own data betting strategies and win some money betting. That's why we're doing it. You can build it in under 30 seconds. That's what we do. We've been profitable all season long, and we're excited for the playoffs. So we're excited for the championship games, and we can't wait to be back after the weekend and talking about the Super Bowl. Spencer Kronthal, Brad Kronthal. This is Band of Bettors. We'll see you next week.